Welcome back to the Stadium of Light. We're delighted to inform you that Sunderland have came through another game here in the state of a few days. It's a 2-0 victory for Sunderland on this occasion. And Danny, it was a frustrating afternoon for the fans, probably equally as frustrating for the playing staff, you know, this afternoon, but they got the job done. Yeah,
and you could hear it in the stadium, and you're getting towards that last 10 minutes. It's a bit edgy. We've used all our substitutions, and you're thinking, how can we go on and be brave and try and win this game of football? And we've managed to do that. And you know, the one player you said there, Dan Neil, coming off the bench. He's the type of player who likes to take the ball into feet and try and play through the lines, and that's what happened. He got on the ball, he wraps it into Ross, gets it back on the give and go, and steps onto it, and it's a lovely finish. And then after there, you can feel the relief in the stadium, and the lads enjoyed themselves the last 5 minutes or so, and then obviously the second goal, but we'll get onto it, shall we?
Let's get onto it then. This is how the action unfolded this afternoon at the Stadium of Light. A very frustrating first half. This is probably one of the best opportunities. Jermaine Defoe just couldn't bring it down.
Yeah, and it's a half chance. It's a nice spot from Carl Winchester. Drops a nice ball in for Jermaine over the top. Just because it bounces, it checks, it takes the pace off the ball, and he has to wait for it. Other than that, we had very little half chances, didn't we? I think Ross has one in a minute off a corner, an outswinger. But at the same time, Crewe didn't offer too much going forward either, did they? Especially in that first half. They had one or two efforts on the counter-attack in the second half, which we'll get onto. This one here, it's a diagonal from the free kick. Bailey wins first contact, and Jermaine, it's another frustrating afternoon for Jermaine. Very little to go on for him in front of goal so far since he's been back at the club. This one here, to be fair, they did have that one there. It's very similar to Jermaine's, wasn't it, where he's waiting, you can see him there, long, holding his head in his hands there. You know, chance went away from him. But they knew they're coming up here, Crewe, their game plan, as I said before the game, very similar to Fleetwood in the week. Both teams struggling at the wrong end of the division, and they're going to come up here 4-5-1 compact and make it difficult for us. And that's the header there I was on about for Ross, where he's got to cross his man, gets good contact on it, but it's straight at Richards in goal. So yeah, we huffed and puffed in that first half, like we did on Tuesday night. Frustration. Ross was involved in a lot of those battles with the centre halves. Balls coming up there with him, for him, a frustrating afternoon. He's not got himself a goal again this afternoon. Still sat top of the pile. I think we haven't seen other results yet.
We'll
have a look at them.
We'll bring you those soon here on SAFC Live.
Yep. And just into the second half now. That one there, Ross, he is running in behind. He's just strayed offside, which we've seen. And this is Dew's opportunity. That's all it takes. We're all over the show at the back there. Ball turning behind. Yes, maybe the angle's gone against him, but they're long. As I said, he's their main marksman. At least work Patterson, but he doesn't. He gets a bit of a rush of blood to his head and strikes it high and wide. And at this point, we're thinking, is it going to be our afternoon? There wasn't too much happening, but this is another one now, similar to what we just seen. Ball pop. That's what I was talking about at the end of the game when Bailey's committed. One of those two centre backs there, Winchester or Sirkin, got to sense the danger. Got to come narrow and help him out. And thankfully, although Long catches it quite well, it's straight at Patterson. Matete unlucky there, does well, weaves his way through, doesn't he? Keeper comes out, spreads himself, gets the block in. There's one ball in there, Patterson come and claim it as you want him to there. And I think he's done that quite well in recent weeks. Down at Wigan, didn't he, where, you know, as a back line, you want your keeper to come in.
This was a bizarre situation, wasn't it? The circumstances.
Yeah, it was bizarre, yeah. You'd expect him to, if he's coming time wasting, so book him. You know, we'd seen him, he had booked one or two, hadn't he, for time wasting. So yeah, surely.
Not to book him, but giving indirect free kick.
Snatches the ball off him, puts it down, and everyone.
He stormed like 30 yards, didn't he, Carl Boyson, anyway? Yeah,
he does, yeah. And this is where now the subs start to come into it, affecting the game. You see Dan Neil getting him high up the pitch, in and around the box there, rolls that one to Corey Evans. Corey trying to place it into that far corner, you know, accuracy in the keeper. We said there, he palms it away, doesn't he?
Referee plays advantage on this occasion. Cross comes in.
Yeah, stood up there. Yeah, there was a couple there. Jack Clark, I think if he gambles, maybe not his game, but go in there and, you know, try and throw your head at it, you might be getting yourself a goal. But this is the goal now, yeah.
Dan Neil starts the play,
getting on the ball. Where do you want to see Dan Neil on the ball? High up over the halfway line. He just rolls it into Ross. Comes Matete as it almost takes it off him, but Dan says, no, I'm having this. Strides onto it, and look at him there, what that means to him. Hairs up on the back of his neck, and frustration in there as well, because he's come out of the team. And see it back again now. Ross there, midfielder for them, doesn't match Dan's run, gets caught wrong side, and that's all it takes, a yard or two. You switch off, and that's what it needed in that first half. I said it, didn't I? There was a massive pocket of space where nobody was being brave or taking the game by the scruff of the neck and trusting each other by rolling those balls into Ross, into Jermaine, and going to get it back. And then Patrick Roberts come on as well. He's busy and he's bright. finds his way through there, and you fancy him on his left foot. You can see what he's looking for, just trying to bend it into that far top corner. Just puts too much on it, but here is that second goal now. Comes it to Roberts. Matete out to Jack Clark. A little bit of cockiness from Jack Clark there, just pops it off his shoulder, rolls it back into his path, and then
that touch there, isn't it? It's the touch just before the strike that makes the goal. Yeah, just 2 out of his feet, and that's all it needs, and he just strokes it under the goalkeeper. And then we're saying there's no nerves there. 1-0 up with a few minutes to go. Just 2-0, we can all relax there. And you can see Crewe's lads, there's 1 or 2 struggling, getting back in. The legs have gone by that stage. But 2-0, it's one of them. Yeah, we haven't played great for 80-odd minutes, but that last 10 minutes, that's the frustration, as we said there. We know what the lads are capable of producing, and we've seen it there. So from Alex Neil's point of view... He's got a headache again, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly that. He'll maybe go back to the drawing board for next week. Obviously, we haven't got a midweek game, so it's how the lads train, what he's seen from today's game. He'll like what he's seen in the last 10 minutes, where he can put the substitutions on. When you're putting your subs on, can you go on there and can you affect the game for me? Dan Neil, he's gone on there, he's got himself a goal. Patrick Roberts, he's gone on there and he's got himself a goal as well. So that's what you want to see happening. So big headache selection for him, looking at the game next week at Lincoln.
Yes, of course, Sunderland are back in action next weekend, this time away at Sincil Bank, the LNER Stadium as it's known now.
We'll go Sincil Bank, won't we?
We'll go Sincil Bank, yeah, definitely. Okay then, I wonder if we can have a look at the scores from in and around EFL League One now. Here we go then. AFC Wimbledon 0, Lincoln City 2, Accrington Stanley 2, Charlton 1, Bolton 0, Plymouth 1, Burton 3, Fleetwood 2, Doncaster 0, Gillingham 1, Ipswich 0, Portsmouth 0, MK Dons 1, Wigan 1, Morecambe 1, Cheltenham 3, Sheffield Wednesday 6, Cambridge 0, Shrewsbury Town 1, Oxford 2, and Wickham 0, Rotherham United 0. Let's see what that does to the league table. Well, Sunderland's victory has them at 5th in EFL League One, having played 38, sitting on 66 points. Yeah, it's the teams below them that we've got to keep an eye on from now on in, I think.
Well, it is, and you look at Sheffield Wednesday 6-0 at home, and I think the majority of their games remaining are at home as well. So I'd fancy them to nick in there somewhere. Say Wigan and MK Dons drawing. Say both will be happy with that. Obviously, Wigan will be happier than that, even though they've got a couple of games in hand on MK Dons. But I think MK Dons Oxford, for me, will make the playoffs. Plymouth there nicking a 1-0 win, vitally important for them. And it's just tight, isn't it?
You look at that, the places for the automatics, MK Dons and Wigan drawing this afternoon.
Yeah.
And they are level on points. That's going to be it's going to go to the wire, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, you're looking at Wickham there. They drew today, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, we'll get that confirmed.
Rotherham. But yeah, you're just looking at that, 3 points to ourselves. They've got a game in hand on us there. Wickham, haven't they? Sat on 62 points, take them up to 65. And it's just tight in behind us. Ipswich are having a great run.
Everyone's got the fingers and thumbs out, haven't they?
I think the only thing that goes against Ipswich is the amount of games they've played, really. They could do with another game or so themselves, couldn't they? Like Portsmouth, you'd probably go down as far as Portsmouth, wouldn't you? So it's still...
We can still have those games in hand.
5 or 6 teams there competing for a couple of places for me. But just shows how vital it was that we managed to turn it on really in that last 10 minutes of the game.
Okay, then let's have a look at your thoughts now in hashtag Ask Danny. We'll have the first one in. People watching all around the world, of course, with the lack of the moment of options, especially in the first half. Does that highlight the importance of Alex Pritchard? Our guest this afternoon, Alex Pritchard. You can probably go back and see that on the club's official Twitter page. And you called it in the first half, Danny. You said this game needs Alex Pritchard.
Yeah, I think he's been movement there. I think that's what he's referring to, the lack of movement. And he's right, I think far too direct, I think, in that first half. Yes, they're compact to 4-5-1. It is difficult to play through them. But you've got to be brave. You've got to want the lads, we said Broadhead, who done it well last week at Charlton, missing today. Obviously, Alex was missing as well. You've got Embleton on there who does, play that role at times in the 10. He will drop in and get the ball, but that's what it was crying out for, somebody to be brave. You've got Luke O'Nien in there who was running the channels. He was trying to drive in behind them, but from up here where we could see it, they dropped into a back 5. We had 4 lads stood in a straight line up against them, and they'll be happy with that. It's easier to play against. I think first off, the only time that one of these lads come off the line, Jermaine Defoe, went in there, received the ball and got on the turn. Other than that, we didn't really see it. So then, as you say, we were looking at the bench. Does he change it at half time? He never did give it 10 minutes, and it didn't really happen. You bring Patrick Roberts on. And we've seen Patrick out on that right-hand side on Tuesday night, and at times, yes, he wants to get on the ball, but it didn't. The final ball wasn't there for him. Alex Neil brings him on centrally today because he knows he wants to get on the ball, and he's sharp, he can pivot, he can turn, as can Dan Neil. So you bring those two on in those central areas, which wasn't there in the first half, and you just see the impact it had and the effect they had on the game, getting in those positions. So we've said it there. Yes, we're missing Alex Pritchard at this moment in time. Hopefully we see him back in a couple of weeks. Nathan Broadhead as well. These type of players who can affect these games when we're playing the lesser sides, who make it compact, narrow for us, and we struggle to break them down. And these lads in those 1v1 situation have got the ability to roll a player, play these 1-2s like we've seen Patrick's goal at the end as well. And that's what we're going to need between now and the end of the season.
Okay, then let's have a look at another one then. This time, this one is from Mr. Spencer, who's tunes in all the time from Malaysia. Dave, thanks for watching. Huge relief, that one. We were so dominant, but lacked that cutting edge. Step up, Dan Neil.
Yeah, he's right, isn't he? And that's what it needed, somebody to come on. And it was, what, is he 20 now? I was going to say 19-year-old, 20-year-old Dan Neil. Found himself out the side in the last couple of weeks. And yeah, that zing's gone through his game, really. You see him earlier in the season where he's got that ability to roll somebody, that little 10-yard burst, and then to get his head up and find one of those little threaded balls through the lines. And that's just gone away from Dan in recent weeks. So I thought it was right that he needed a break. And he said it himself. He said, I've had a couple of weeks out the team. I think it was the right thing, but I'm ready to get back in there now. And the way he gets himself back into the team is to train and show that he's ready. And when he gets the opportunity to come on the pitch like he's done today, he's got to step up, as Dave said there. And he's done exactly that. He played his part. He looked like he's enjoying himself again. He was getting on the ball just over the halfway line. When you see Dan Neil, and I've said it before, haven't I, when Dan Neil's on his game and when he's seen a lot of the ball, he's a massive part of our
Sunderland seem
plans.
to do well, yeah, absolutely. He's a massive player for Sunderland,
yeah.
Especially this season. And again, you've got to remind yourself, it's his first proper season.
First proper season, yeah. And for Dan as well, he's a Sunderland lad, isn't he? You know, we've watched him throughout his career. Probably, I probably wasn't playing him going too far back. Showed me age a bit, but no, from a young lad, you remember seeing the pictures of Dan watching him, so it means more to him. But you see his reaction there when he took that ball away. Yeah. He was the frustration from not playing and just what it meant with 5 minutes to go in the game to what he thought at the time was probably the one that was going to win us the game. So credit to him, and gives Alex Neil a headache now. Looking forward to the game next week at Lincoln. Does he start him? Does he bring him off the bench again? We'll have to wait and see.
These are good headaches to have, though, Danny.
Okay,
let's have a look at another one then. This one is from Ben. Thanks for tuning in, Ben, who says, why did it take Sunderland 85 minutes to work out playing to feet is better than long balls?
Yeah, it's a good question, Ben. I think whether we've set up that way to try and drop those balls in behind. I think, as I said it in comms there, that I don't think we've done it enough on Tuesday night. Not straight as well between the 18-yard box. I don't think we do it enough. Ross is a willing runner. Drop it in those channels where you're dragging centre halves out. Gives the options then for Embleton and the other lads from midfield, Luke O'Nien, to drive into these spaces. But first half, I don't think we were brave enough. Lads wanted to come into the pockets, back to their goal, receive it. You've got to do it at times. Play out triangles. You could pop it in. You've got Carl Winchester that side, Dennis Sirkin there, lend it. And then when you're dragging these lads out of their positions, that's when the openings have got to be there for Defoe, for Ross Stewart to receive the ball into space. But for me, we were watching up here, we almost had a back three with Corey Evans on their toes, and then a front six, really. The spaces were too big between the defence and, well, the midfield became an attack. It was like a front five, front six, and then you're shelling long balls. Yes, Ross is going to win his fair share, but it becomes a lottery when it's dropping down. But you ask the Crewe lads, those defenders, are you happy for balls to come forward and you compete with Ross Stewart and Jermaine Defoe, or do you want to be getting dragged into those midfield pockets and coming out of your slots? Defenders don't like that. So second half, it needed to change. And thankfully it came with 5-10 minutes to go on the clock.
Just in the nick of time. Let's move on to the next one then here on hashtag Ask Danny. This one comes in from Craig, who said, Dan Neil, the difference today, would you agree, Danny? Deserving of a start, perhaps?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously we can look at the game back now, and he's come on and he's affected the game. That's what, I've just said it there. You need your subs to come on, and can they play a part? And Diaku as well, who was quite lively, he was busy, he was coming across the pitch. Spent a bit of time on the ball on that right-hand side, put a couple of balls in as well. So, yeah, all three of them did have an impact on the game, and that's what you need. Now, he's asking, would I bring Dan back in? I'd be looking at it. I think if you're bringing him in, do we change the formation again? I think it's awkward for Alex Neil. I think he said it himself. He's come in with 12, 13 games to go, and it's almost like he's got to scramble a pre-season into the lads as well and seeing what is the best formation for the personnel, what he's got available. He hasn't got a full squad to pick from. Lads are coming and going from injury. Nathan Broadhead, we're still waiting on Aidan McGeady. Luke O'Nine's back in there. But he's trying to tinker things, but we're at the business end of the season. So he's got to get a winning formula by trying to get the right shape and the right personnel into the starting 11. So I'm sure again we'll see changes for the game next week at Lincoln. Whether Dan comes in or not, we'll have to wait and see. But he'll be looking at Dan.
Another full week on the training ground as well.
Another full week as well.
Sorry,
yeah, that's the thing.
The first team coach sees things up there that we don't as fans as well. So there might be developments up there during the week.
Yeah.
We don't know.
That's the thing, mate. Fans and we get to see 90 minutes on a Saturday, where Alex Neil and his coaching staff, they get to see the lads 3-4 days a week as well on the training pitch.
Yep.
Who's training well, who's not quite at it, who he thinks he looks quite sharp, he's ready to come back in. Nathan Broadhead, prime example, he thought he was ready to come in. Unfortunately, he's picked up, I think he's got a tight hamstring, so with us not having a midweek game, it gives him another full week to try and get ready for Lincoln next week. So he'll have more options to pick from. I think Luke O'Nine's all right. I think he got nearly an hour under his belt. Yeah. He looked okay going off, didn't he? So he's got a big squad list to pick from next week. A lot of attacking options. It's who does he put in there. I don't think Alex Neil as well is the type of manager who just thinks, because we've won the game, I'm going to start with that 11. Some people think that 11's won the game. Why tinker it? Why change it? I think he looks at the opposition. They might have a different shape. Who he feels in our squad can get the better of one or two of their players in the opposition as well. So it's a lot for him to think about. He'll take that game in, assess things, and we'll see what he comes up with for Lincoln next week.
Let's have a look at what I think should be the final one here on #AskDanny. This one's from Alex Bird, who says, "Hi lads, what is needed to make sure we secure our place in the playoffs? Is it team spirit, set pieces, or just the structure of how we play? Thought today's game should have been 2-0 before the first half against a bottom of the league side." Obviously, a lot of people are coming to the game today, Danny, and thinking, well, this is a given. And we know as Sunderland fans, there's never a given here, especially here at the Stadium of Light. In recent games, we've seen that. Doncaster, for example. Yeah,
prime example. Yeah, Doncaster, they were bottom of the table. We beat them 3-0 a few weeks before as well. Hadn't been comfortable down there. It was like a training session, but they come up here and they surprised us, picked up the points. Then we go to Cheltenham, a team who as well, I think, had not won for 11. They take the points off us, Lincoln as well. So these teams have come here. So, yeah, you can look at the fixtures, and I do it myself, and I've looked at the other teams yesterday in and around us who's got favourable fixtures on paper, but that counts for nothing if you turn up and you haven't got the right application. If the lads aren't quite at it, not playing to their full potential, you get found out. And for 80-odd minutes today, that was the case here at the Stadium of Light, and it was that little bit of magic from a couple of players coming off the bench that turned the result in our favour. He's saying there, I fancy 2-0 today, and a lot of fans, I'm guaranteed, putting bets on would have had us down to win that game. It's one of those as well. If we were saying if we get the early goal, it'll settle us down. Then we might go on to get a few goals, as you've seen Sheffield Wednesday have managed today. But it wasn't the case. It wasn't there. That first 20 minutes, we didn't get going. We didn't work the goalkeeper, and then we had to figure out another way of how to win the game. He's asking about set plays. Yes, they'll be vital between now and the end of the season. Games can be tight, and then all of a sudden a free kick, as we seen at Charlton last week. Yep. We come away there 0-0. We deserve to win the game. All of a sudden, last kick of the game, Stockley could have won it for them at that. So yeah, you've got to switch on throughout the 90 minutes. It could come back to bite you if you don't do your jobs. But between now and the end of the season, what's needed? Yes, it's team spirit, as he's asked the question there. It's turning up better than we've shown. We've won 6 points in the last 2 games, but have we really played that well over the 180 minutes? No, we played better at Charlton for me, come away with a point. So you don't always get what you deserve, but at this stage of the season with 8 games to go, what is vitally important is that we pick up the 3 points, and we've done that again today, and we've got 8 more to go. I think we need to win another 5 of those games to nail a playoff place.
Okay, Danny, thanks for your company this afternoon.
Cheers.
Once
Enjoyed
again.
it.
We'll see you next weekend. That's when Sunderland are next in action here on SAFC Live. Saturday, the 19th of March. It's a game down at Sincil Bank against Lincoln City. 3 p.m. kickoff for that one means we'll be on the programme from 2:30 here. And you can buy your matchday streaming passes right now. Watch all the reaction from today's game on Sunderland's social media channels. Alex Neil will be speaking to SAFC.com about now, to be honest. So keep an eye on that on the club's Twitter and Instagram. And of course, you can watch any highlights on the club's YouTube channel from tomorrow morning. We'll see you next time.